Okay, I have a couple more remotes here, both Panasonic ones again. This is one I found in my shed. Forgot I even had this one. The scanner comes on. The channel buttons seem to work reasonably well. VTR button works, but the rest of these mechanical function buttons don't work, and just whatever these other buttons are, clock, counter, etc. And if I'd known I had this, I wouldn't have bothered, but I actually ordered another one from eBay just to try it out. And of course, this one doesn't do anything. Supposedly a working remote, helps if you push the batteries in, but there's no scanner. None of the buttons put out a signal. And when you look in here, there's actually quite a bit of corrosion. I actually had to clean, you can see the battery terminal there, greeny blue colour. I had to scrape some of the corrosion off that to even make a connection. So luckily I got a refund on that one again. So that's two I bought off eBay that were complete rubbish. But that's what you get for buying stuff off eBay, I guess. People put any old junk on there and hope you don't complain. Nothing like actually being able to check something in the real world first. But anyway, they soon give you a refund on them, thankfully. At least the buyer protection is pretty good. Again, you risk making a few marks on the side of these when you open them. But you just got to prise it so these clips release. Sometimes you can just slide the screwdriver down, they'll come off once you get a couple out. Oh man, there's some corrosion in there, alright, I can see it already. It's actually green powder in there. So that battery terminal has gone right down, so it's probably not connecting because that's got a terminal that connects to this other terminal on the board, and that's all green. So chances are just cleaning that up, although no, actually to be fair, this has gone into the board a bit. Should actually get a close up of that. See if I can get the focus. This lens isn't really made for it, but there's actual, as well as that green terminal there, you can see a sort of dark pattern on the board. It's a little plated through holes, a bit of blackening and stuff. That may clean off. Come on, Metho. But chances are it's actually where corrosion's got under the green lacquer and onto the copper, which seems to be the case. It may not have actually done any permanent damage, but it may also have eaten in. There's actually a bit of corrosion on the pins of this chip. I think that whole side of the chip's actually lost its tinning, or at least these bottom pins. Yeah, they've gone back to copper by the look of it. So I'd say a couple of them look like they're either shorted together or completely eaten off, so I think this one might be beyond it, unfortunately. It may be resurrectable, but if they've been left for ages with corrosion, yeah, I think those pins have gone off the chip. If you really had to repair it, you might be able to patch that up, but yeah, I think that one's a rubbish bin job. Is that just rubbish on the pins? Might just be a bit of muck. I've actually got it back looking silver again. And yeah, some of that copper tracks are showing there where I've been scraping at it. This certainly ain't going to be the most reliable of things if I do fix it. Well, we might just... Now I've got whatever that muck was, it actually looked like the pins were eaten partially off. Well, there's possibly still some muck between them. It may have got into the actual case of the chip and damaged that. Is always a possibility. It's basically eaten one of the little tabs here completely off, I think. And there's a risk I'll break the other one off just getting the green off it. But yeah, all the tinning's gone. I think it's back to copper. Now ideally you should scrape anything that's corroded right off, because there may still be some battery acid or whatever it really is. It's not really battery acid, I guess, but it's some sort of corrosive muck that leaks out of batteries, and it probably is acidic. Could be alkaline, I guess, since they're probably alkaline batteries, but it's corrosive whatever it is. believe it or not, there might be enough there to make a connection again. Surprisingly how resilient these things can be. But yeah, once you really get corrosion eating in, nothing really survives that. So I'll scrape all this crud off here. Must be some sort of copper oxide-y stuff, I guess. Put that in the bin, because that's probably not very nice stuff. Treat all this stuff as toxic, because God knows what it really is, but I'm just scraping in on the battery terminal there. Just get the cotton bud in and clean up the worst of it, just so the battery can connect, and then we'll clean this back bit. It actually looks to be bent down as well, which probably doesn't help. So it doesn't have to retension these things upwards a bit, especially since the other connector's half missing. So I'll do that to get a bit more tension on it. I can't help wanting to scrape all that off, even though it doesn't really matter in this case, because I think this is a bin job anyway. I guess we should put a little lens back in, because I don't think I'll bother pulling this apart again. It's really just a case of seeing if it will go again. I'm not holding much hope, but you never know. Oh, the scanner's sort of going. So that's a good sign. And when I hit the transmit button, we've got operate, pause, stop. Yeah, well, those buttons are all working. Record if I press the two of them. Oh, it was working. It's a bit picky, that. Oh yeah, those buttons are working. So far, surprisingly, all the buttons are fine, so it hasn't had anything spilled on them. It's just that someone's let the batteries leak in it. I wouldn't be surprised if the eBay seller left the batteries in accidentally. Probably grabbed it and thought, oh my god, the batteries are leaked. Oh well, chuck them in the bin and send it anyway. Some of those buttons, oh, there they're going. Oh, they're a little bit picky, some of them. Maybe it's just that some send a continuous pulse and others don't. No, that's... For some reason the 8 button doesn't. Maybe it's meant to. Yeah, why would the 8 button be the only one that doesn't send a continuous... Oh, it's got VTR 1 and 2 mode. I think that's if you had 2 Panasonic videos you could... Oh yeah, VTR 2, it gives it a different code I think. There's a switch on the machines. It says VTR 2 up the top to remind you. But the actual scanner display, not too happy. How to get... Well, we've lost display altogether now, I've broke it. I think we might have lost power. Oh no, we've still got power. So that may be a completely unrelated fault. Just for the hell of it, I'm going to pull that apart again. Try to. Probably should have used this screwdriver in the first place since it's a bit finer. So that's the LCD, I think it's up there. Might have one of those edge connectors, and it's possible, but it is also possible because, oh actually yeah, all these tracks, that's the pins on the micro that are corroded, so I don't know, it's got the edge connectors. They are a bit dirty, but they don't look to be corroded, so I don't think there's much point pulling those rubber edge connectors off. There's actually muck down here on the other side of the board, so that's how much you've got to clean them. I reckon that cotton bud. But yeah, the actual, all this side of the chip runs up under these tracks here, and yeah, they all head up to the display, so it's absolutely no wonder at all. I might scrape a bit of this off, see if the copper's still intact. Looks to be on most of them. Oh, those ones aren't too pretty. Probably need to reset the focus. But you can clean all the green lacquer off. I'm not sure if that track's just a little piece in between or it's actually eaten off. Oh, maybe it's just fooling me with the lacquer. And it's still there, I think. I think it's more likely to do with the actual pins on this chip being corroded. Some metal on that. So yeah, unfortunately all the tracks from the chip to the display run right where it's corroded, right where the battery terminals are. And I can't tell if there's actually pins left on that chip or whether the metal's gone and we're just down to solder. Yeah, I think the pins are missing. That's what I suspected the first time, but I wasn't sure. That's hit and miss as to whether the pins are actually completely corroded off. But the ones next to it feel larger. Oh, there's a bit of a lump. That could still just be the solder. But yeah, they could certainly be disconnected. Again, I think there is a little bit of sign of liquid having been got in here. That actually is, yeah, right under the battery terminal, interestingly, so it looks like some of the battery muck got down here. Thankfully didn't damage anything. But I think our display is probably cactus, as in the tracks connecting it. It'd be a real pain, I can't really be bothered tracing it out. I could do a continuity test, but even then you can't tell whether it's got up inside the chip and damaged that, which is quite likely. So I think we'll just check this. Oh, I didn't put the screw back in the board, not that it really matters at this point. Oh, was that that's of course I put it in the wrong hole. Where was it then? Oh, up there further. The natural thing is to always go for the hole that is where the back cover screw goes. It's up near the LED there. Hardly does anything anyway. Nothing. Whatever I did is look at those in the right way. Oh yeah, we've got our infrared signal coming out. Oh no, the scanner does do something now. But yeah, it's not a lot of the segments missing. So it should come up like these other ones. I'll see if I put the battery in that, I assume it would be the same sort of display. That battery's fairly loose. This one it's fallen out, so that needs fixing as well. Oh, so it does only come up with the middle segments by the look of it. I thought it came up with a bunch of zeros. I think this one is actually coming up with some half zeros or something. Yeah, well, some segments are coming up that probably shouldn't. I think this one might. Well, it's got the middle segments, so I doubt it's meant to have those other segments lit, so maybe something's actually shorted out there. There's corrosion joining the pins. Either way, that'll do as a... might make a good Panasonic test remote for... it'll suit most of their VCRs, I would think, the later GMAC type ones. That's the wrong cover. Oh well, so I've got a partially working remote there. And I've got this other one. Now the first thing I notice is the battery's not staying in, so we need to bend this terminal back out a bit and put some tension on it. Yeah, that now stays there. No screw in this one. Use a bigger screwdriver, I think, to force that open. Come on. Where is the clip on this one? There it is, just a bit more force to... Oops, I think I broke one. Yeah, bit of the case snapped off there. And then we've got this silly little thing in the corner. And this one's likely to have the same dirty keypad as the other one. It was basically the same model or very similar. Certainly the same year out and the same general style. I see a bit of hair or something in there, lovely. There's dirt all down this side. So it certainly does need to get rid of that. And I'm guessing these are quite filthy. Yeah, it's quite sticky. And yeah, it's got telltale shiny and slightly shiny on there as well. Chuck that cotton bud away. So that's the case to get the metho. Clean all this off, including in between the pads. But you want to get all these little black pads of the main contact points. And just go right over the whole top of the board and get rid of any muck. So that's how much filth came off there. Some of that's probably the black keys anyway. I'll use a clean end of the cotton bud to clean the other ones, just to give them a quick clean up while we're in here. A little bit of stuff came off, but nothing like the other one. Probably need to give the display a bit of a clean. And yeah, these are quite filthy, so all of them want every little black round bit in the middle of the buttons. On the back of them, definitely wants it clean. Just as a general service, you might as well do them all. Don't just have to do the dirty ones. When they're dirty, it's best to push them in a bit and get all the muck out right around the whole square bit there. The clean ones, you can just do the tops faces of the little black contacts in there. But these middle ones have all got muck all over them, so I'll give them a proper clean just to make sure any residue's gone. There's even a bit on the rubber backing here in between the keys. I think I'll chuck that cotton bud now, get a clean one and go over them again. I still haven't done that filthy one there. Because this has dried up for a long time, it's probably not that bad. It's not going to move around in there, but if it's a fresh one, always best to clean everything. Anywhere you can see where the liquid's been and left a residue, just get rid of it all. And these are absolutely disgusting, as they usually are. People that eat food and stuff tend to leave a lot of muck on the buttons. It gets on their fingers and then gets pushed down through the gaps around these rubber keys and leaves a nasty sort of brown greasy muck there. Part food, part dust, part dirt, I guess. Human grease probably, who knows. Skin grease. Lovely stuff. So no one really likes working on remotes, because they're usually absolutely disgusting. Because it's usually the disgusting ones that get damaged. People that don't eat and drink all around watching TV, I guess, don't spill drinks on theirs very often. So unfortunately you see the worst of the worst. But there are some people that have mint remote controls. But they're, like I say, just ones you don't see for repair, because they keep going forever. Ah, it's disgusting. You've got to be a little bit careful you don't rip these like I think I did on the last remote. Having not done one for a while, I was used a little bit too much force on it. Just got to be a little bit careful because they will tear off the base. There's a good chance to clean them if you want to clean one up. Good chance to get all the faces of the keys clean and just give these holes a quick clean out. Filthy. I'm not going to worry about getting them perfect, but better would be good. Some of them aren't too bad at least. Clean the inside of the little lens there. Probably wants a quick clean of the dust out of where the scanner goes. Did I clean these other ones? I can't actually remember, but I'll Don't think I did. This is all the other buttons. I guess you should really. Oh, yuck! Look at it. Lovely. Clean that out with a paintbrush, all the dust and muck, the chunky stuff. And that'll probably mostly brush off. Do it over the floor because I don't want it on my bench. And yeah, run it down the middle. Get the worst of that out of there. Probably skin or something gross. At least it's a bit drier. This stuff, it's not food or anything, I don't think. But certainly some of these remotes do a lot of work. And this looks like one of them. And yeah, the other thing is give it a quick wipe down the slot between the two case halves, because that's always filthy. Always food and muck stuck in there. And same with the face on the other half. And that needs a brush out. Get all the dust out of it. Probably should clean those little contacts there. And the ones on the back of the board. That's looking pretty good now. Still a little bit of muck in there, but oh, actually one thing I should have done is while I got these off, use a bit of paper towel or something and just clean the front off. Get all the muck around the hole. Oh, yuck. Because it'll look a heap better with that gone. Oh, there goes the lens. Oh, that's absolutely filthy. Disgusting. Not nice to work on, but you don't have much choice of what you can get these days. And these old remotes, they're all largely been thrown out now, and I still can't get the jog shuttle one I want from my hi-fi Panasonic. But at least these will run the machine, do all the main functions, even if they're not the exact original. I mean, I'm never going to use the jog shuttle. I never did in the day, I don't think. Pretty much a useless feature. You know, it's one of those sort of features that's fun to see what sort of slow-mo stuff you can do, and then you never use it again. Yeah, maybe if you really wanted to see some sports action or something, people would use it, but I doubt many people ever used it. Most of the time you just want to watch a movie from end to end without interruption, or maybe the odd pause for snacks or whatever, as this guy obviously did. And of course there's dirt even in those little slots there. There's dirt absolutely everywhere. Not sure how that cover comes out. Don't think I've ever taken one out. They must oh, it just clips out. There you go. I don't think I've ever pulled one off. Must just, yeah, there's a little clip thing there to hold it in, I think, so they're actually easy to get rid of. That means I really want those slots cleaning out as well. That it goes in. Oh, it looks like in the middle, it maybe comes off right in the middle position, but God, that's still not coming clean. It's actually, maybe I'm eating a bit of the paint off even, is possible. Got to be a little bit careful with the finish on some of these things. So if I put that back on, oh wow, so there's a couple of little bits sticking out, both ends though, so oh yeah, there are, it does line up with a couple of holes in the, yeah, if you're slightly up, yeah, it doesn't come off there, doesn't come off at the end, but if you go slightly up, out there, it comes off easy as. So I've never had one of those off before, I don't think. That shows there is a way of doing it, not surprisingly. Most of these things are made to be fixed and removed and stuff replaced. Surprisingly, I don't think anyone ever broke one of those. I think they're always on these remotes, unlike some of the Sharps and stuff with doors and stuff that swung open and broke off easy as. Probably just dropping them was enough to break them. Because I know people are always after the doors for the Sharp mid-drive remotes, because they just used to completely open up, much like this thing. But they had these flimsy little hinges that broke off. I don't think I've actually seen one of those older Panasonics broken either, which is surprising. That looks like the sort of thing people would be good at breaking. But amazingly, that doesn't seem to be fitting in. That's because my rubber hasn't gone in right. Oh, there we go. Or it's pushed back up. But yeah, amazingly these Panasonic ones seem to be pretty strong. I must have seen one of those with the door broken off it shortly. A bit hard to remember now. I guess I can put that back together, I think. And scanner still works, but that was working before. Transmit button, yeah. And now, yeah, we've got to stop. We did have. Get this remote sensor in the right place. Yeah, top button, that's going. Oh, that's record, so that needs 2 buttons pressed to work, yep. Oh, we're still not getting those buttons to work. I just search. No, I've got none of the play, stop, any of that. I did get a little bit of it initially. All the top buttons now work. So it's possible this has actually damaged the contacts in there, because there's not much I could have done to put it back together wrong. But it did initially come up with a stop button, and then it stopped working. Just make sure they did, well, they must have set in because they spring fine. Definitely cleaned up. It's a little bit mucky still there. A little bit of coating still on that stuff. Oh god, quite a bit of coating on it. Well, look, all of that's probably coming off the black stuff. But admittedly I didn't get that quite as clean as I hoped. And that's why I keep using new cotton buds, because you tend to smear the stuff around otherwise. But sometimes it does actually eat the contacts off, the carbon or whatever it is. Yeah, they look a bit cleaner than they were before, but I don't know that that's going to make any difference. Yeah, they do look a bit iffy, these ones. I can still see sort of lines on it where it's been touching the contacts on the other half there. Just give it a bit more of a clean. But these may be damaged, and that's where some conductive paint is useful. That used to be the next thing if the contacts didn't come good from cleaning. Where'd that go? You'd put like a silver conductive paint on there. You could either get in a pen or a little bottle, I think it was. And often the pens, the tips would seize up on them, and no matter what you did, so you used to just open them up and get a bit on the cotton bud and do it that way. Hang on, I've got two in the same way. For some reason I'm seeing the terminals the wrong way around. Ah, now we're working. Interesting. Oh, the pause still isn't working, so I've got stop, play, no slow-mo, no fast forward, rewind okay. So fast forward is still advance, and pause still don't work. The play is a little on the dicky side, but it works most of the time. So I'm looking one more clean, and then it really is going to need the contacts redoing. It shows us some sort of bad coating on there or something if it's managed to get a couple of them going again. It does look like it's actually eaten into the rubber or something. It's weird. Usually there's a bit of a mark there where the contacts are pressed against the board plenty of times, but these actually almost look like they're 3D, like they've eaten in a bit or something. So it's still advanced there. And rewind. I don't normally like scraping the surface of these things at all, but could be justified in this case. Because you do risk ruining it completely. And what was the other one? Rewind. Oh, pause is the upper one there. Now it's also possible there's some damage to the board. Oh, looks okay. But if you get one broken track or something that can take out a sort of set of random keys, or one plated through hole corroded or something like that, you can find a very similar set of symptoms where you'll find a few keys don't work. Well, it looks pretty good. Doesn't mean it is any good. Looking at it doesn't always tell you much. But often in remotes it gives away a fair bit, because it's usually some sort of physical damage like this. I'm going to put the screws back in again. Probably should leave them out until I've tested it, but I keep hoping that I won't have to pull it apart again. But yeah, this is kind of the last time. If this doesn't fix it, they're going to need recoating or this remote chucking out, one or the other. So we've got power. Play seems okay. And now stop doesn't work. Oh, it sort of does. No pause. Rewind still works. No fast forward. And now I've actually damaged the stop, I think. And the play is quite dicky. So it could be there's something wrong with that group of buttons. But it's most likely just the contacts are stuffed. Stop works occasionally. Yeah, play if I really push hard on it. That might be the key, yes. Stop if you push really hard. Pause will not work at all. So maybe that's what I haven't been doing. I haven't been pressing hard enough. Yeah, I get stop and play if I press hard. So it shows it's just the contacts. So that's got a few problems, so we'll put that one to one side. Not really a usable remote in that condition, other than to turn on and off and change the channels. So I can kind of go with that one, and they can go in the dodgy remote bin, I think. Well, at least that other one, the functions work, it's just that display's a bit dicky. That'll do for now. At least that gives an idea of what you can and sometimes can't do with these things. So thanks for watching.